Live from the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, it's The Artist Show with your host, Rocky Red Panda. This week's special guest, Taebyn and his Drummy drums. Artist of the Week, Alyssa. Welcome to The Artist Show. I am your host, Rocky Red Panda. It is the week of Friday the 13th. What can possibly go wrong?
No.
Make sure to avoid ladders, black cats, and ridiculous superstitions. Also, this is a great day to go camping. And if by some reason you are being chased by a guy wielding a machete, you can tell them to stop chasing me. I'm going to celebrate Friday the 13th the same way I always do, by murdering a bunch of teens
by the lake.
Excuse me. Speaking of Friday the 13th, here are a few fun facts. Maybe they will scare you. Tupac Shakur died on Friday the 13th, September 1996. There were 13 original colonies. A witch's coven consists of 13 members. There are 13 stops leading to the gallows. Lizzie Borden uttered a total of 13 words at her trial. Wow, trial. And Jason gets killed at the end of every Friday the 13th movie. Happy Friday the 13th, everyone. May the odds be forever in your favor. Enough about superstitions. Let's jump into the news of the week. Here is this week's news. Police raid illegal rave at Toys R Us store. Robotic Kitchen. Robotic Kitchen. Heinz ketchup mayo. And Cub. You'll hear a little bit more about that later. I'm just going to say Cub. C-U-B, Cub. Let's jump into our first news report here, which I think will be a juicy one. Police raid an illegal rave at an abandoned Toys R Us store. Britain is a country with an illustrious history of illegal raves, and another entry of opportunism was added into that legacy on March 31st, when 5 people were arrested for attempting to hold a massive rave in an abandoned Toys R Us store in the Hounslow borough of West London. Oh, that was a mouthful. As the ravers would say, silly wabbit, Easter bunny, tweets are for kids, adults. And the letter of the week is E, said Cookie Monster. Nom, 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 nom. Robotic Kitchen. Yes, a robotic kitchen. What will they think of next? Molly's Kitchen, as it is named, is the world's first robotic kitchen featuring an advanced, fully functional robot integrated into a professional kitchen. You heard it right from here. The kitchen is touchscreen activated and has the skills and flair of a master chef. We have a video for you showing you firsthand of this robotic kitchen. Take a look. This all sounds amazing and quite expensive, to be honest. And for those movie buffs out there, we also have the fear of it turning against us. I'm sorry. I cannot do that. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I cannot do that. Will not compute. Molly will not make you spaghetti and meatballs, but will make you your favorite holiday dish. Fruitcake, just like your grandmother would have made for you. Thank you, Hal, the robot. And of course, if you live in the areas where weed is legal, oh, those hash brownies and related foods. It would be a great high time for Molly. Let's invite her to cook for that illegal rave that they were having in England. E really is the letter of the week. E is for cookies. No, it's not, you silly. Heinz Mayo Ketchup. Yes, you heard me right. Mayo ketchup. Heinz has invented mayo ketchup, but unfortunately, it is not available in the US or Canada yet. You know it's just Russian sauce, right? Besides, I can make you a better sauce that will kick the sauce out of Heinz. Here, let me show you. Follow me. So yes, the Russian sauce, or as Heinz calls it, ketchup and mayo sauce. Well, I'm going to show you how to make a better one because I like to cook, so let's get into this. So here we have all the ingredients lined out to make a perfect meal. Now, what I like to do is I'm going to make a gourmet burger, but not just any burger, but a fantastic burger. As you can see here, we got some cheese. We got the patty. Of course, I'll make my own patties. I use pre-store-bought. An egg. Buns. And then this array of stuff here is for my version of the ketchup mayo sauce. So let's get into it. So I use a thing called truffle oil. Now in this case, this is Italian white truffle oil. Now you have your burger, as you see here, and the white truffle oil. So all you do, you lightly pour it on. And then you take the truffle oil and you're going to rub it into the burger. Same with on the other side. Like so. And then you should have a nice oiled and greasy burger. I think that tastes good. Then the next part is everyone's favorite seasoning, Old Bay. Welcome to Maryland. You're not from Maryland unless you have Old Bay. So we're going to take some Old Bay, lightly coat it, move it around, turn it over, lightly coat it, like so, until you get the Old Bay on both sides. We're going to go ahead and we're going to turn the stove on. We're going to put it on to high. We have some oil in there. We can go ahead and drop in the burger. Now while the burger is cooking, we do have some lovely bacon here. So I'm going to go ahead and get out a few strips of bacon. Or at least attempt to, because it's frozen solid. Okay. Got some strips of bacon. Now the burger is cooking, which is what we want to see. You can hear it sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. And then we got our bacon over here. So let's go ahead and let's take care of this burger. Now, I like my burger medium rare. So, put it down a little bit high, take it down a little bit lower to medium. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Let it cook. Now, of course, while it's cooking too, you can add some more of this truffle if you'd like. Give it some flavor. But I recommend truffle oil, because truffle oil is amazing. So the burger is now cooking. We're just going to brown it. We're not going to really do much to the burger. And here you thought it was just a video of me making a better sauce for White Russian. You'd be wrong. Well, White Russian? Well, the Russian red sauce. Or as Heinz calls it, ketchup mayo. Now, we're going to open our cheese. We're going to take 2 slabs of cheese here. Good old Swiss. We're going to cut it in half, make it into 4s. We're going to go ahead. We're going to slap some good old American cheese, a Swiss right on top. Like so. And we're going to let it melt into the burger. Now we're going to remove that burger from cook. And we're going to leave it like so. With the pan still frying, a little bit hot, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put in our bacon. And we're going to let the bacon do its cooking. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. There's the bacon. We're going to let the bacon do its cooking. Alright, let's check on this bacon. It's getting there. Little bacon in pieces. We got some pieces here. Alright. We got a big stack here. Well, I think these are done. Okay, so right here we got an egg that is cooking, and then here we got the bacon. Now I have a little secret I like to do. This is maple syrup, but not just any maple syrup. This is Vermont maple syrup, American made, up in the state of Vermont. So we're going to pour a little bit in here, not too much, because this is rich maple syrup. Enough to coat them. Now, as you can see, it is now coated within that lovely gooey maple syrupness. So we're just going to move it around so we get maple bacon. And it is good. Our bacon is ready. Let's check on our egg. Looks like our egg is ready as well. I did break it, which is pretty bad. So, it's now time to prepare. So the egg is runny, it is broken. That's not how you're supposed to cook an egg, and I do apologize. But we have our bun. So what we're gonna do is see if I can find a spatula or something. Let's just now. Here we go. We're going to use the same spatula. We're going to pick up the burger and we're going to stick it on the bun just like so. Now we're going to take our egg all runny. We're going to stick it on top. So as of right now, your burger will look like this. So what I like to do is I like to go ahead and add a little bit more Old Bay. You can never have too much Old Bay. Let's go ahead and salt this. In this case, we're using sea salt. Alright, and your burger is almost done. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add some of the bacon. That is good sauce. Now, here's where people are saying, where's your Russian sauce? Let's get to it now. Alright, so we're going to make the Russian sauce. I'm just going to grab a fork. A fork is the best way to mix it. So what we're going to do is, since we are from Pittsburgh, people, we don't use anything other than Heinz. How about that, folks? We're using Heinz. Yep. So we're going to go ahead, add some of the Heinz ketchup. Now I like to do guessing. Heinz ketchup. We got some mayo. In this case, it's Hellmann's. Again, I like to guess. That should be enough. If we need more, we can always add more in. Now, this is what their ketchup mayo sauce will probably look like. Well, actually does look like. We're going to mix it together a little bit to get consistency. So this is what their ketchup mayo sauce will look like. Well, we could just go ahead and add it to the burger now, but here's where it gets a little fancy. I like a little heat, and we're using Sriracha sauce. Hey, 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 Sriracha. We're gonna go dab, 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 dab. It needs a little kick to it. Now we're going to go ahead and mix it in. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add Maryland's favorite seasoning, Old Bay. That should be in plenty. Let's go ahead and mix. Alright, so let's go ahead and taste. Just use a little bit more kick. Okay, let's go ahead and try it now. And that's good. So, this is what I call my secret sauce. It is a mixture of mayo, ketchup, Old Bay, and Sriracha. Now, all we're going to do now is we're just going to take some of the sauce. We're going to pile it on top of the burger. We may put some on the bun here. top the burger with a side of fries or old potatoes. And this is how you make a burger. Again, we do have the burger that was rubbed in Old Bay. We do have some Swiss cheese aged. We have an egg sunny side up. We do have caramelized bacon and maple syrup from Vermont, and my special Russian sauce. That's what I call it. Better than anything that Heinz can make. Now let's get back to filming and let's go ahead and enjoy this while we're doing our video. This is a good burger. Excuse me. And lastly, Cub. Yes, you heard me. Cub. And yes, that is a thing. And no, I will not show it here. Instead, enjoy this lovely photo of a baby bear. So what is Cub? Let me put this burger aside. Well, Cub is a pre-adolescent mammal, usually urson or feline. The young of certain species have more specific titles. In the fandom, the term cub may be used to refer to all characters under the age of majority, including adolescents. This has a particular relevance due to the prevalence of in the fandom, which is often restricted using this criteria. Within the fandom, though, most recently, a famous artist who I will not name was ousted because he drew Cub or reposted NSFW Cub stuff, which is not safe for work. Here is where I become serious for a moment. Cub is an extremely controversial subject to even talk about within our fandom. Why am I talking about it? Is because this really needs to be addressed. There are two sides to this story. There are those who are for it and those who are against it. Those who are for it proclaim it as an expression of freedom of speech with no actual minors involved. Those who are opposed to it call it a disgusting fetish that can lead to illegal activities. Hello, Prohibition, we're not drinking anymore. But where do I fall in all this? Well, as an artist, I can understand those who are for it and those who are against it, but I will never draw or do art of anything Cub related, even NSFW work. To me, I feel morally wrong when I do, and it just doesn't feel right. I feel sick to my stomach when I finish a work. Yes, I have at least drawn 2 that I know of, and I feel dirty and used afterwards. I just hit the delete button and delete it. But due to the legal gray areas that were mentioned above, Cub porn has been increasingly restricted, much to the change in of said artists and those who support them. Now, do I personally support those kind of artists? Well, I support artists and their work of art. I support artists who do art. I believe that Andy Warhol was right when he said, everyone will be famous for 15 minutes. But when it comes to Cub art, I am split down the line 50-50. I have seen some really great artists who do a style called baby fur, or in anime terms, think of or which I am okay with, but when it comes to Cub, the answer is no. I am not okay with Cub whatsoever. I don't agree with it, and I'm not for it. It doesn't matter if you think it's your freedom of speech, but my answer is still no to it. As of 2010, there are no laws in the United States, Canada, or the UK that explicitly refers to sexual depictions of minors other than humans, and there are known cases of Cub being used to prosecute anyone in the court of law. None. If Cub art were ambiguous, classed as child porn, then publications like Softball Magazine would not be available for purchase by the public. I don't usually talk about topics to this nature, but it is currently the hot button topic everyone is discussing all over Facebook at the moment. Now, is there an organization that I support that goes in the line with what I mentioned? No, but there is one that I support that is near and dear to my heart, since we mentioned child porn briefly. The Polaris Project is an organization/leader in the global fight to eradicate modern slavery, named after the North Star that guided slaves to freedom in the U.S. Polaris systematically disrupts the human trafficking networks that rob human beings of their lives and their freedom. 8,759 cases of human trafficking were reported to Polaris in 2017 alone. Let's help end human trafficking, especially with children, and make America a much safer place to live. If you would like to learn more about Polaris, you can visit them online at polarisproject.org, where you can donate and help be one for the change. We got a great show for you this week, but before we get into the show, let's jump into a weekly segment called The Artist of the Week. The artist of this week goes to Alyssa. Or Alyssa? Yeah, that's how you pronounce it. Alyssa. I found her via Facebook group, and her art is absolutely amazing. Take a look at it. She said she has developed her style through practicing since she was only 2, folks, 2, and mastered traditional art before moving on to digital. I can see that from your works, Alyssa. Your works are beautiful. She uses only Medibang paint on a cell phone to make all of her art. Hey, I used to use a cell phone to create art. That was before I got an iPad Pro. That is absolutely amazing. She has multiple different styles that she uses and self-taught to draw in. Her best works are the ones that appear more realistic and very detailed. Art helps her cope with life difficulties. She says things get rough often enough so drawing helps ease my mind and relieve the stress. Thank you, Alyssa, for sharing your work with the show. She is always open for commissions. Her prices range from $10 all the way up to $160. Well, folks, at $160, I would buy multiple works of her art because she is that talented, just that talented, and she has a future career in art. She will be going places if she already hasn't. She does not have a page yet for her work, but she does have an Instagram, which you can search her at. Oh my, yeah, that has to be censored, but you can see the link down below. Sorry, folks, there's a word in there that's not pretty for the audience out there. This show is just going from worst to let's use our sentence enhancers.
You just sprinkle it over anything you say and level! You got yourself a spicy sentence sandwich.
Damn you, SpongeBob. But thank you again, Alyssa. We have a great show for you tonight. We have our special guest, Taebyn, Taebyn, who will tell you a bit about his persona. And yes, he drums in suit. How about that? We will show you a performance of his drumming skills a little bit later on the show. Now, this past Sunday, I took a little excursion to 2 of my favorite places with a few friends, Harpers Ferry and Antietam National Battlefield. So, I have a little video for you, so let's take a look at my little adventure. So it is now 6:46 a.m. in the morning, and as you can see outside, it's supposed to rain later today, so I brought 3 umbrellas. I have no idea how many people are going to be joining me today, so I can't really tell you, but it's going to be a fun day regardless. We're going to Harpers Ferry, West Virginia, and we're going to Antietam National Battlefield. But with the onslaught of rain, I think that we're just going to go straight to Harpers Ferry because rain, and we're going to spend as much time there as we can. So we arrived in Harpers Ferry about 9 o'clock in the morning. 3 showed up. 3! The clouds opened up for a bit, but it was still cold because of the wind. We waited for the bus to take us down to the historic lower part of Harpers Ferry. As you make your way down to the waterfront, you will notice this flood map, which shows you the different years that Harpers Ferry has been flooded, from the lowest amounts to the highest. On October 16, 1859, John Brown and his band of abolitionists overran the federal arsenal. It would be a company of U.S. Marines led by Robert E. Lee and Jeb Stuart who would stop Brown and his followers. Brown would be captured, and he would hang on December 2nd, 1859, saying his final words, "I, John Brown, am now quite certain that the crimes of this guilty land will never be purged away but with blood." St. Peter's Roman Catholic Church in Harpers Ferry occupies a prominent location on the heights overlooking the town. The original church was built in 1833 in a pseudo-Gothic style, which it kept throughout the Civil War. The street alongside the church building is part of the Appalachian Trail. Church Mass is offered at the historic church Sundays at 11 a.m. Jefferson Rock is a rock formation on the Appalachian Trail in Harpers Ferry. The name of this landmark derives from Thomas Jefferson, who stood there on October 25, 1783. He found the view from the rock impressive and wrote in notes on the states of Virginia that this scene is worth a voyage across the Atlantic. As we bid farewell to Harpers Ferry, we board the bus and make our way to our next location, Antietam National Battlefield. The Battle of Antietam was fought on September 17, 1862, between Confederate Robert E. Lee's Army of Northern Virginia and Union General George B. McClellan's Army of the Potomac. It was the first field Army level engagement in the Eastern Theater of the American Civil War to take place on Union soil, and at present remains the bloodiest day in American history, with a combined tally of 22,717 dead, wounded, or missing. The Sunken Road, or known as Bloody Lane, was the site of some of the fiercest fighting in the Battle of Antietam. For nearly 4 hours, Union and Confederate forces fought in this sunken clay road. At the end, it was said that blood flowed like a river inside it, giving it the name Bloody Lane. Thomas Francis Meagher was an Irish nationalist and leader of the Young Irelanders in the Rebellion of 1848. After being convicted of sedition, he was sentenced to life on Van Diemen's Land, now Tasmania in Australia. In 1852, he escaped and made his way to the United States, where he settled in New York City and fought for the Irish cause. During the Civil War, Meagher joined the U.S. Army and rose to the rank of Brigadier General. He led the Irish Brigade, which fought during the Battle of Antietam. Following the Civil War, Meagher was appointed acting governor of the Montana Territory. In 1867, Meagher drowned in the swift-running Missouri River after falling from a steamboat at Fort Benton. This monument was dedicated on October 13, 1903, to William McKinley, who before becoming America's president, served as Sergeant, Company E, 23rd Ohio Volunteer Infantry, on the afternoon of the day of the Battle of Antietam. He personally served, and without orders, hot coffee and warm food to every man in the regiment while under fire from the opposing side. Burnside's bridge played a key role in the September 1862 Battle of Antietam, when around 500 Confederate soldiers from Georgia under General Robert Toombs and Henry Benning for several hours held off repeated attempts by elements of the Union Army, who was led by Major General Ambrose E. Burnside, to take the bridge. The 51st New York Volunteer Infantry and the 51st Pennsylvania Infantry from General Edward Ferrero's brigade attacked from the field on the Union side of the creek, stopped briefly at the walls near the bridge to duel with sharpshooters, and then charged and seized it, but not before the attack had been delayed for several hours beyond what has been expected. Today, Burnside's bridge remains as one of the most photographed bridges of the Civil War. I hope that the video makes you want to visit Harpers Ferry and Antietam Battlefield as well. Even when there are tourists about, I hope not when it's raining, because as you can tell from the video, in Harpers Ferry, flooding is prone to happen. So let's get right into the guest of the week. He is a drummer in the furry fandom and does it with class in a fursuit. Here is Taebyn. Enjoy.
So tell us about your fursona.
So thank you. That's a great question. My name is Taebyn, and I'm a pup. And the fursona is Happy Playful Puppy, because I'm a happy playful puppy. If you see me at FurCons, you might see me running all around and hugging people and hugging plants and things. The plants don't really hug back that well, but you know, I do what I can to support them. And so I have pawsies, and I have a nosy, and I have earsies. So a little bit more detail about me. So I'm a Burmese mountain dog with a little, no, you can cut that part out. I'm a border collie with a little bit of Burmese mountain dog. So mostly border collie. The Burmese mountain dog is, they're a little bit more unloyal and they like to help. Border collies do too, but Burmese mountain dog had kind of a separate thing that helps my overall persona.
Awesome. Well, tell me what made you decide to play the drums.
Yes, I like drums, and I always have. I can remember when I was a little tiny wee pup, I would bang on telephone books at my parents' house, and those got pretty raggedy pretty quick. They let me get away with it. I don't know why. And if you don't know what a telephone book is, this is something we had long ago, before the internets and the Google. So there's that. And I had these big alphabet blocks, cardboard blocks. I would bang on those too. I never really did the pots and pans thing, but I know I like paper, I guess. So that's kind of where it all started. And then at one point, I think it was my parents for Christmas got me a little toy drum kit for my posies. And I had fun with that. And it was obvious that I was liking the drums. And so eventually they got me a snare drum and more things and makeshift drum sets. And then eventually I got my own drum set, like a normal size, not just put together with miscellaneous things. And it's kind of progressed to there. And now I have this nice, very wonderful set, which is actually one of the sets I first learned to play drums on.
Who is your biggest influence in the music industry today?
So that's a great question. I'm sure throughout my life and still currently, there are all kinds of people and bands and musicians that have influenced me in how I think musically. Names that stick out to me just as being overall current and past influences would be Neil Peart from Rush, and he also does some amazing drum clinics and things like that these days. The drummer from Rush, and Danny Carey, the drummer from Tool, just amazing. He's got an amazing ability. He's just got the right physique for doing all that he does, and it's just he does some really wonderful, interesting stuff. Very great with polyrhythmic beats, which I always found very interesting. Let's see, who else was there? There's another one that I can't think of off the top of my head. But, of course, Terry Bozzio. He played in the 80s, I think it was, with Missing Persons and some other great 80s bands. But for the most part, and especially these days, he just does drum clinics all over the world. He has this insane drum kit these days. I don't know how many toms he's got, probably at least 30. And he can play them all just perfectly. And so, I saw him in a drum clinic once, and he said he tries to learn something new every single day. And that was very inspirational, because I could see what you can do if you put your mind to it and keep practicing. So those are my main influences, I think, throughout my life.
Where do you see yourself in the future with your drumming?
Well, for the most part, I just like drumming and playing for myself. And if it ends up entertaining other people, then I'm extremely happy about that. So in the future, I envision myself just kind of doing this and playing around on the set, maybe playing with some people in a band. I don't know, I've done that before. And it's fun to play with other people, just to jam around even. So I don't see myself as drumming being a major career or anything, but just a nice hobby. You get some good exercise, and it's a lot of fun. So I think that's where I see myself.
Thank you, Taebyn, for that wonderful interview. We will take a short break and return to you with a performance from Taebyn. Join us next week for special guest and Artist of the Week, Scene. Taebyn is a drummer in the furry fandom who does it in a fursuit. Here to perform some of his drumming skills in suit is Taebyn. Enjoy. Lessons learned. from the Artist Show. So, what did we learn this week? We learned that E is for everyone. I mean, cookies. I mean, I want to be a Toys R Us kid. We also learned that robots will soon be taking over your kitchen. And yes, they can do that. We also learned that Heinz is just marketing a mayo and ketchup sauce to people who are too lazy to make it at home. This is a great burger and great sauce. And messy. And finally, fursuit drumming is awesome. Thank you guys. It has been great. Catch us next week as we have a special guest and artist of the week scene on the show to talk about his unique style of artistic talent. Till next time, catch you on the flip side. Ta-ta.